From a young age, I felt the heavy weight of judgment. Just because of the color of my skin, I was seen differently. I quickly learned a harsh reality. While others were presumed innocent, I had to constantly prove my worth, prove my right to simply exist without suspicion. It was a strange and unfair burden for a child to carry. A silent battle I fought every single day. I saw it in the suspicious glances, the clutched purses, the way doors would lock as I walked by. It was a language spoken without words, a constant reminder that I was viewed as a threat before I was ever seen as a person. These feelings weren't just in my head. They were confirmed by real, painful experiences. I remember the humiliation of being stopped and searched by police for no reason. My pockets turned inside out on a public street while my friends watched, confused and scared. I saw friends of mine, good kids with bright futures, get caught in the system, wrongfully arrested and tangled in a legal web they didn't understand. Their dreams were put on hold, their lives forever altered by a system that seemed designed to fail them. It was then that I realized the law wasn't just a set of rules. It was a weapon for some and a shield for others. I decided I needed to learn how to wield that shield, not just for myself, but for everyone who looked like me. That decision led me down a long and challenging path. Getting into college was a victory, but the fight was far from over. The journey through university and then law school was one of the most stressful periods of my life. I was often the only black student in my classes, a lonely island in a sea of faces that didn't understand my experience. The microaggressions, the subtle prejudice, the sheer indifference from classmates and sometimes even professors, it was emotionally and mentally exhausting. I had to work twice as hard to be seen as half as good. There were so many nights I wanted to quit, feeling like an imposter, wondering if I truly belonged in these halls of power that were never built for me. But then I'd remember why I started, the faces of my friends, the injustice I saw in my own neighborhood, and I would find the strength to keep going. After years of relentless study, I finally entered the courtroom, ready to fight. But the real world was even tougher than I had imagined. There was one case early in my career that almost broke me. I was representing a young black man, just a kid really, who had been wrongfully detained and charged with a crime he didn't commit. The evidence was flimsy. The prosecution's case built on racial bias and stereotypes. I poured my heart and soul into defending him. I worked day and night, believing that the truth would prevail, that the system, for all its flaws, would ultimately deliver justice. We lost. The verdict came down like a physical blow. Seeing the hope drain from that young man's eyes, seeing his family crumble in disbelief and sorrow, it shattered me. All my years of hard work, all my faith in the law, felt like a joke. I felt like a failure. I went home that night and told my father I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't be a part of a system that so easily discarded black lives. I was ready to give up on my dream, on everything I had fought for. My father listened patiently, his silence a comforting presence. He said, "Son, the system doesn't defeat you. You only lose when you let it make you quit. Your anger, your pain, that's not a weakness, it's your fuel. If you stop fighting, who will stand up for the next boy? Who will be their shield?" His words hit me like a jolt of electricity. He was right. Giving up wouldn't change anything. It would only create a void where a fighter was supposed to be. That night, my despair turned into determination. I wasn't just fighting a single case. I was fighting the entire system, and I would not let it win. With renewed purpose, I picked myself up. I graduated from law school, passed the grueling bar exam, and officially became a lawyer. But I wasn't just any lawyer. I dedicated my entire practice to the people the system had forgotten, the communities oppressed by its weight. I started representing those who couldn't afford a high-priced attorney, especially the young men and women in my own community who were so often targeted and mistreated. I became their voice, their advocate, their shield. It was more than a job. It was a calling. Over the years, I've become a respected human rights lawyer. My name is known in courtrooms and communities as someone who won't back down. I've challenged unlawful arrests. I've fought against discriminatory policies that target minorities. And I've worked to hold law enforcement accountable for their actions. Every win, no matter how small, feels like a monumental victory against a giant. It's a crack in the wall of injustice. I've seen families reunited, wrongful convictions overturned, and policies changed because we refused to accept the status quo. The work is hard and the emotional toll is immense, but seeing the impact it has on people's lives makes it all worthwhile. Looking back on my journey from that confused and judged little boy to the man I am today, I've learned a powerful lesson. This fight was never just about me. It's about every person who has been made to feel small, every voice that has been silenced. My message to anyone facing racism or injustice is this: do not let it define your worth. Confront it, fight it, but never let it convince you that you are less than. And remember, true justice doesn't begin in a courtroom. It begins the moment we refuse to be silent. It begins when we stand up, speak out, and demand to be heard. Thank you for listening to my story. If you believe in the fight for justice and equality, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message. Let's continue to build a world where everyone is seen, heard, and valued.